You might think you're doing everything right for your hair. You eat well, you take your vitamins. Maybe you even use those expensive shampoos your daughter recommended. But what if I told you that something as innocent as your morning berries could be quietly working against you? I'm seeing a troubling pattern in American and European women over 50, unexplained hair thinning that doesn't respond to typical treatments. The culprit? It's not what you're eating, it's what you're eating together. And the worst part is you're probably doing it every single day without realizing the damage. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 4 berry combinations that I watch closely because they can sabotage your hair from the inside out. But don't worry, I'll also share 4 powerful combinations that can help turn things around naturally and safely. If you stay with me until the end, you'll discover the one combination that I've found makes the biggest difference for women in their 60s, 70s and beyond. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me your age. We're building a community of women who refuse to accept thinning hair as just part of getting older, and I want to hear from you. Now let's talk about the good news first, because I want you to feel empowered, not scared. There are simple, everyday food pairings that can actually support your hair as you age. These aren't miracle cures, and I'm not promising you'll wake up with the hair you had at 30. But what I am saying is that my clinical experience, often supported by robust studies, has shown that certain nutrient combinations work together to nourish your scalp, strengthen your hair shaft, and reduce the kind of shedding that so many women experience after menopause. So let's start with number 4. Number 4 is berries with seeds, specifically pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, or chia seeds. You've probably heard that seeds are healthy, but do you know why they're especially good for your hair? It comes down to 2 key nutrients: zinc and omega-3 fatty acids. Zinc is something your body needs to keep your hair follicles functioning properly. Without enough zinc, your follicles can actually shrink, and that means thinner, weaker hair. Omega-3s, on the other hand, help reduce inflammation in your scalp. Inflammation is one of those invisible problems that quietly damages hair roots over time, especially as we get older. When you combine berries with seeds, you're getting vitamin C from the berries, which helps your body absorb the iron and zinc from the seeds more effectively. This is particularly important for women going through or past menopause, because hormonal changes can make your body less efficient at holding on to these nutrients. A simple snack of blueberries with a tablespoon of ground flax seed or a handful of pumpkin seeds can make a real difference. You're not just eating healthy, you're eating smart. I often recommend this pairing to women I accompany who complain about hair that feels thin or breaks easily. The seeds provide the building blocks your hair needs, and the berries help your body actually use those building blocks. It's like having the best construction materials, but also having the right tools to put them together. You can sprinkle seeds on top of your berries, blend them into a smoothie, or just eat them side by side as a snack. The key is consistency. Eating this combination once won't do much, but making it a regular part of your routine, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, can start to make a noticeable difference within a few months. But as helpful as this combination is, the next one is even more important for women concerned about hair strength. You'll want to hear this. Number 3 is berries with oats. Now, I know oatmeal might sound boring, but hear me out. Oats contain something called silica, which is a trace mineral that most people don't think about. Silica helps your body produce collagen, and collagen is what keeps your hair strong and elastic. Without enough collagen, your hair becomes brittle and breaks easily. Oats also provide a steady source of iron, which is critical for hair growth. Iron deficiency is one of the most common causes of hair loss in older women, and it's often overlooked because the symptoms are subtle. You might feel a little more tired than usual, or you might notice your hair shedding more in the shower, but you don't connect the dots. When you eat berries with oats, the vitamin C in the berries helps your body absorb that iron much more efficiently. The other benefit of oats is that they release glucose slowly into your bloodstream. That matters because spikes in blood sugar can actually damage the tiny blood vessels that feed your hair follicles. Over time, poor blood flow to your scalp means weaker hair growth. So a bowl of oatmeal topped with fresh strawberries or blueberries isn't just a nice breakfast. It's a meal that actively supports your hair health. This is the kind of combination that I often recommend to women I accompany who are dealing with age-related hair thinning. You can use steel-cut oats, rolled oats, or even instant oats if that's what you have on hand. The important thing is to avoid the flavored packets that are loaded with sugar, because that sugar will work against the benefits of the berries and oats. Instead, cook plain oats and add fresh or frozen berries on top. You can add a drizzle of honey if you need a touch of sweetness, but keep it minimal. Many women find that once they get used to this breakfast, they actually start to crave it because it keeps them full and energized through the morning. And over time, they notice their hair feels stronger and looks healthier. But while this pairing is excellent for strength, the next combination focuses on something even more fundamental to healthy hair. Stay with me. Number 2 is berries with nuts, especially almonds and walnuts. This is where things get really interesting. Berries are loaded with vitamin C, which is a powerful antioxidant. Nuts, particularly almonds and walnuts, are rich in vitamin E. When you eat these two together, they work as a team to improve blood circulation in your scalp. Good circulation is everything when it comes to hair growth. Your hair follicles need a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through your blood. If that circulation slows down, which it naturally does as we age, your follicles don't get what they need and your hair starts to thin. Vitamin C and vitamin E together help keep those blood vessels healthy and open. They also protect your scalp from something called oxidative stress, which is basically damage from free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that attack healthy cells, and your scalp is especially vulnerable to this kind of damage because it's exposed to the environment every day. Sun exposure, pollution, even the chemicals in some hair products can create free radicals. When you regularly eat berries with a handful of nuts, you're giving your scalp the tools it needs to repair and protect itself. This is one of those simple habits that doesn't feel like it's doing much in the moment, but over weeks and months, it adds up. Many women who adopt this pairing notice their hair looks shinier and feels thicker to the touch. Walnuts are particularly good because they also contain omega-3 fatty acids, which we talked about earlier. Almonds are excellent because they're high in biotin, which is another nutrient that supports hair health. You don't need a lot. Just a small handful of nuts with a half cup of berries makes a perfect snack. You can eat them in the afternoon when your energy dips, or you can pack them in a small container to take with you when you're out running errands. The convenience of this combination is part of what makes it so effective. It's easy to stick with because it requires no preparation and no cooking, but as powerful as this combination is for circulation and protection, there's one pairing that stands above all the others for rebuilding hair strength from the inside out. This is the one you absolutely need to know. Number 1 is berries with citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruits, or even a squeeze of lemon. This might sound too simple to be effective, but it's actually backed by solid science that I've seen validated in my own clinical experience for decades. Here's why it works. Citrus fruits are packed with vitamin C, even more than berries alone. When you combine 2 high vitamin C foods, you're creating an environment in your body that supercharges iron absorption. Iron is stored in your body's tissues, but it's not always easy for your body to pull it out and use it, especially as you get older. Vitamin C changes that. It converts iron into a form your body can absorb quickly and efficiently. For women over 60, this is incredibly important because iron levels often drop due to changes in diet, digestion, and hormone levels. Low iron doesn't just make you tired, it directly impacts hair growth. Your hair follicles need iron to stay in the active growth phase. Without it, they go dormant and you start to see more hair falling out than growing back in. But there's another benefit to this combination that's even more exciting. Citrus fruits help your body produce collagen. Collagen is the protein that makes up your hair's structure. As we age, collagen production naturally declines, which is why hair can start to feel thin, weak, and lifeless. By eating berries with citrus regularly, you're giving your body the raw materials it needs to rebuild that collagen from the inside. This isn't a quick fix. You won't see results overnight, but many women who stick with this habit report noticing stronger, healthier hair within a few months. I often point to this combination as one of the most effective dietary strategies for aging women who want to support their hair without resorting to medications or expensive treatments. It's natural, It's safe, and it's something you can start doing today. You can make a simple fruit salad with berries, orange segments, and a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. You can add these fruits to a smoothie. You can even just eat a bowl of berries and follow it with an orange as a mid-morning snack. The point is to get them into your body at the same time so they can work together. This combination is especially helpful for women who have been told by their practitioner that their iron levels are on the lower side, but not low enough to require supplements. Food-based strategies like this can often bring those levels up naturally over time. Now, I wish I could stop there and leave you with just the good news, but here's the truth. If you're pairing your berries with the wrong foods, you could be undoing all of that progress. In fact, you could be making your hair situation worse without even knowing it. What I'm about to share with you next is something that I see all the time in my practice, especially among women who are frustrated because nothing seems to work for their hair. These combinations don't poison you or make you sick, but they quietly interfere with the very nutrients your hair needs to thrive. And the first one is so common, you've probably done it today. Number 4 on the list of berry combinations that aren't good for your hair is berries with milk or sweetened yogurt. I know this sounds harmless. In fact, you've probably been told your whole life that dairy is good for you. And in many ways, it is. But here's the problem. When it comes to your hair, milk and yogurt, especially the sweetened kinds, contain a lot of calcium. Calcium is great for your bones, but it has a downside. It blocks iron absorption. Remember how important iron is for your hair? When you eat berries with dairy, the calcium binds to the iron in your digestive system and prevents your body from taking it in. This is especially problematic for women over 50 because your body is already less efficient at absorbing iron. You might be eating iron-rich foods and still have low levels because of the way you're combining them. And if the yogurt is sweetened, there's another issue. Sugar causes your blood sugar to spike, which triggers inflammation throughout your body, including in your scalp. Inflammation damages hair follicles over time, making them weak and more likely to shed. This doesn't mean you can never have a berry smoothie with yogurt again, but if you're dealing with hair thinning or shedding, it's worth rethinking how often you make this pairing. Maybe try berries with unsweetened almond milk instead, or eat your berries on their own as a snack. Some women switch to coconut yogurt or oat-based yogurt and find that works better for them. The key is to separate your calcium-rich foods from your iron-rich foods by at least 2 hours. So, if you have yogurt for breakfast, wait until mid-morning to have your berries, or vice versa. It sounds like a small thing, but for women whose hair is already struggling, these small adjustments can make a surprisingly big difference. But this next combination is even more damaging, and it's hiding in plain sight in many of the foods marketed as healthy. Number 3 is berries with refined sugar or sweet syrups. Think about berry pancakes drizzled with syrup, berry muffins, or even berries stirred into sweetened oatmeal. These are foods that feel wholesome, but they're actually setting your hair up for trouble. When you eat refined sugar, your blood sugar spikes sharply. That spike causes a chain reaction in your body. First, it increases inflammation. Chronic inflammation is linked to a condition called miniaturization of hair follicles, which is the medical term for follicles shrinking and producing thinner, weaker hair. Second, high blood sugar disrupts circulation to your scalp. Your body prioritizes sending blood to your vital organs, and your scalp gets shortchanged. Over time, poor circulation means your hair follicles don't get enough oxygen and nutrients, and they start to weaken. Third, sugar promotes something called glycation, which is a process where sugar molecules attach to proteins in your body. One of those proteins is keratin, which makes up your hair. When keratin becomes glycated, your hair loses its flexibility and strength. It becomes brittle, breaks easily, and looks dull. This is a slow process, so you don't notice it happening day by day. But over months and years, the damage adds up. In my work, I've observed, and many studies affirm, that women who consume high amounts of added sugar tend to have more hair thinning and breakage than those who limit it. If you love berries, eat them fresh or frozen without added sweeteners. Let their natural sweetness be enough. If you're used to having sweet things and plain berries feel too tart, try adding a tiny bit of stevia or monk fruit sweetener, which don't cause the same blood sugar spike, or mix your berries with naturally sweet foods like bananas or dates, which provide sweetness along with fiber that slows down sugar absorption. Your hair will thank you. But as bad as sugar is, the next combination is even worse because it doesn't just block nutrients, it actively drains them from your body. Number 2 is berries with alcohol, especially wine or cocktails. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you can never have a glass of wine with your berry dessert, but if you're concerned about your hair, you need to understand what alcohol does inside your body. First, alcohol reduces your body's ability to absorb zinc and B vitamins. Zinc, as I mentioned earlier, is essential for keeping your hair follicles healthy. B vitamins, especially biotin and B12, are critical for hair growth and strength. When you drink alcohol, your liver has to work overtime to process it, and that pulls resources away from other functions, including nutrient absorption. Second, alcohol is a diuretic, which means it makes you lose water. Dehydration affects your entire body, but it hits your scalp and hair shaft hard. Your scalp needs to stay moisturized to produce healthy hair, and your hair shaft needs water to maintain its elasticity. When you're dehydrated, your hair becomes dry, brittle, and prone to breakage. Third, and this is the part that many women don't realize, alcohol is a common trigger for sudden shedding episodes. I often see women in their 60s and 70s who experience a wave of hair loss and can't figure out why. When I dig into the patient's habits, I often find that the woman has been drinking a bit more wine than usual, maybe to relax in the evenings or socially. That regular alcohol intake quietly depletes the nutrients her hair needs. And after a few months, the shedding starts. This is called telogen effluvium, and it's a form of temporary hair loss that happens when a large number of hair follicles suddenly enter the resting phase at the same time. The good news is that if you cut back on alcohol and focus on better nutrition, your hair can recover, but it takes time, usually several months. And during that time, you have to be patient and consistent. If you enjoy wine, try limiting it to special occasions and drinking plenty of water to offset the dehydration. Some women find that switching to just one glass on the weekend instead of a glass every night makes a huge difference in how their hair looks and feels. Your body has a remarkable ability to heal itself when you give it the right support. But there's one more combination I need to tell you about, and this one is the most insidious because it's hidden in so many foods that seem innocent. Number 1 on the list of berry combinations that are not good for your hair is berries with highly processed grains like pastries, white bread, or sugary cereals. This is the combination that I find myself seeing most often in women struggling with unexplained hair thinning. Here's why it's so damaging. Processed grains are stripped of their fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What's left is mostly starch, which your body quickly converts to sugar. That sugar causes all the problems I've already talked about: inflammation, poor circulation, and glycation. But there's something else happening here that's even more concerning. When you eat berries with processed grains, the refined carbohydrates actually block the antioxidants in the berries from doing their job. Berries are full of compounds called polyphenols, which are powerful antioxidants that protect your cells from damage. But processed grains interfere with your body's ability to absorb and use these polyphenols. So you're eating something healthy, but you're not getting the full benefit. Over time, this combination also promotes something called glycation, which I mentioned earlier. Glycation is when sugar molecules attach to proteins in your body, including the keratin in your hair. Once keratin is glycated, it becomes stiff and brittle. Your hair loses its natural elasticity, which means it breaks more easily and doesn't grow as long. For women over 60, this is a huge problem because your hair is already more fragile due to hormonal changes. Adding glycation on top of that is like pouring gasoline on a fire. The solution is simple but requires a shift in how you think about breakfast and snacks. Instead of berry muffins or berry toast with jam, try berries with oatmeal, nuts, or seeds. Instead of a berry pastry, have fresh berries on their own or with a handful of almonds. These small changes remove the processed grains from the equation and let the berries do what they're supposed to do: nourish your body and support your hair. This is the kind of practical, realistic advice that I give to the women I accompany every day. And it works. It's not not glamorous and it doesn't promise instant results, but it's grounded in real science and real results that women have experienced. Many women find that when they cut out processed grains and focus on whole foods, they not only see improvements in their hair, but also in their energy levels, their digestion, and even their mood. Everything in your body is connected. And when you support one part, you often end up supporting the whole system. So let me bring this all together for you. Your hair is not just a cosmetic concern. It's a window into your overall health. The foods you eat, and especially how you combine them, have a direct impact on whether your hair thrives or struggles. The 4 good combinations I shared, berries with seeds, berries with oats, berries with nuts, and berries with citrus, are simple, affordable, and backed by my clinical observations and research. They support circulation, collagen production, and nutrient absorption, all of which are critical for healthy hair as you age. The 4 combinations to avoid, berries with dairy, berries with sugar, berries with alcohol, and berries with processed grains, aren't going to hurt you in the short term, but they quietly undermine your hair health over time by blocking nutrients, increasing inflammation, and damaging the structure of your hair. The best part is that you don't have to make drastic changes or spend a lot of money. You just have to be a little more intentional about what you eat and how you pair your foods. And if you're wondering which combination to start with, I'd say go with berries and citrus. It's the simplest, most powerful way to boost iron absorption and collagen production. And those are the 2 things that make the biggest difference for aging hair. You can start tomorrow morning with a bowl of mixed berries and an orange. That's it. No special equipment, no complicated recipes, just real food working together the way nature intended. I also want to mention that while food combinations are incredibly important, they're just one piece of the puzzle. Other factors like stress, sleep, and hydration also play a role in your hair health. But food is something you can control 3 times a day, every single day. And those consistent choices add up to real change over time. Be patient with yourself and with the process. Hair grows slowly, about 1/2 inch per month. So even when you're doing everything right, it takes time to see results. But trust that every healthy meal, every good food combination is an investment in your hair's future. Sometimes the simplest information makes the biggest impact, and you might be giving yourself the exact piece of the puzzle you've been missing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video on Barbra O'Neill Wellness, where we'll talk about the one vitamin deficiency that I believe is responsible for more hair loss in older women than anything else. You won't want to miss it.